All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Thank you for joining us here. This is Leveraging Your Personal Brand for Affiliate Success, and we've assembled a great panel of experts to share in their knowledge with you today. We're going to each do a little bit of a presentation on what our thoughts are on personal branding and how it can be leveraged for affiliate success, and we'll be here for 1 hour. There is a couple things we just need to talk about for housekeeping. One is you were given an evaluation form when you very first came in. We would definitely appreciate it if you would fill out that evaluation form and turn it in at the back before you leave. They will be having a drawing to give away a gold pass, I believe. Yes, a gold pass for the next show for anybody who does turn those evaluations in. So please feel free to do that. Also, if you have questions, we ask that you please wait until after the presentation part of the session and ask your questions. If you've been in some of the sessions, there has been some technology where you can text your questions in. Unfortunately, in this room, that technology is not functioning. So if you do have questions at the end, we will have a microphone, and you'll be able to stand up and give us your questions, and we'll answer them as best we can. Please do not ask your questions from the seat without a microphone. These programs are being recorded for future use, and if you ask your question without a microphone, then people only hear the answer and not the question. So with that, we're going to introduce our esteemed panelists, and we'll start down on the end with the lovely Barbara Rozgonyi. And Barbara, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session. It's great to see you all. I am from Chicago. I've been here since last Wednesday, so I came out for the Consumer Electronics Show, and I really am into Vegas now. But I have a company called CoryWest Media that I founded 20 years ago. It's a combination of my mother's and my grandmother's maiden names. And what we do is we develop plans for businesses that help them grow communities, get them more visibility, build their brand, and really honor the image of who they are and who they want to be, with their customer voice involved as well. So that's what we do. Personally, I'm the founder of Social Media Club Chicago. So I founded that club a little over 2 years ago. I'm the mother of 3. I do a little bit of mom blogging, not that much, but I do like to hang out with those folks. They're a lot of fun. So that's it.
And Barbara, what is your Twitter name?
My Twitter name is Wired, W-I-R-E-D, P-R Works, W-O-R-K-S, so it's Wired PR Works. Great, and that's thanks. Also the name of my blog. Thank you.
Thank you. And Geno Prussakov, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, as my last name probably gives me out, I'm Russian ethnically, and Russian is my first language. But thankfully, I don't speak with that kind of accent that you wouldn't be able to understand and hear, but not discern much. I'll try to do better than that, and that's primarily because my first education is in linguistics, and then I have a lot of other stuff in the mix, like psychology and philosophy, leadership and business. I'm an OPM. I manage affiliate programs on an outsourced basis for clients. I also authored a practical guide to affiliate marketing and online shopping through consumers' eyes. And I'm actually finishing, I'll let you in on a little secret here. I'm finishing my 3rd book, which is being published with Wiley. It's going to be called Affiliate Program Management an Hour a Day, which is something that I'm really looking forward to coming out. I blog daily at amnavigator.com for affiliate marketing navigator.com/blog. And this is also the affiliate program management company that I run.
Thank you, Geno. And last but certainly not least from our panelists, Jim Kukral.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? It's tough having sessions after lunch, isn't it? Everyone's tired. All right. So we're going to have some fun today. I'm Jim Kukral. I'm the MC for the show for the last 4 years, I think. I keynoted last Affiliate Summit in New York. I wrote a book called Attention, This Book Will Make You Money. You can't miss it. It's very bright orange, salmon-y color on the bookshelves. And I'm a consultant and a speaker and just a general teacher in general. I love helping people figure out how to be successful online. And I've spent the last 16 years in the internet industry. Owned companies, sold them, bought companies, and have spent a long time building a personal brand in this space. And I've got a lot of advice to offer in that regard. So, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. And my name is Marty Fahncke, and I'm the moderator for the panel today. And I have also spent a lot of time working on the space of personal brand. I have built a brand outside of this industry in the television business as the internet guy, and known quite well in that industry where I've generated over $1 billion in revenues for my clients. And so do know a little bit about building up a personal brand. Welcome, Brad. Thanks for joining us. Just a quick note, if you look on your tables, you'll see a handout. We've, at the suggestion of Jim here, we created a little handout for you so that you can take notes on the things that we're going to talk about today. On the back of the handout, you'll see everybody's contact information and their Twitter names, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. Oh, maybe the Q&A is working. Hang on. It wasn't working earlier, but we may go back to that in a minute. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to talk about what is personal branding, why it's important for affiliate marketers, how to build and leverage a personal brand for affiliate success, and most important, we're going to give you actionable steps, tips, and case studies that you can begin using today. And we're going to, as much as we can, give you tweetable tips so that if you feel the urge to let your networks and social media followers in on what we're talking about today, please feel free to do so. Now, there's a quote that I found when I first started talking about personal branding a couple years ago, and it's from Raj Sethi. It says, "A personal brand is your promise to the marketplace and the world. Since everyone makes a promise to the world, one does not have a choice of having or not having a personal brand. Everyone has one. The real question is whether someone's personal brand is powerful enough to be meaningful to the person and the marketplace." And I want to start the session off with that quote, and hopefully we'll see if that quote fits what our panelists have to present to you today. And we're going to start today with Geno. Come on up, Geno, if we can find there we go. Geno, come on up. And he's going to talk to us about 5 points of personal branding. Geno. Timer's right here, Geno, just so you know.
Imagine ancient Greece, circa 300 years before Christ. A guy named Archimedes of Syracuse, the famous mathematician and inventor, says, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will lift the earth." To me, as a linguist, this is a very symbolic quote. I bet it made headlines back in Archimedes' day. But to me, he uses the word lever there, which is what we're talking about here, using something to amplify the impact of something that we are trying to move to achieve our affiliate success. But before we get to my thoughts on how you can really strengthen your personal brand and build it, let's look at the 2 key elements of any branding, and personal branding in particular. These are authenticity and unique promise of value. As I think of strong personal brands, I can't help but think of people like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, Barack Obama or Vladimir Putin, Oprah or Princess Diana. Now, there is one thing that unifies them all, and regardless of how different they are, they have one thing in common, and that is the fact that they differentiated themselves from everyone else. They really stand out, and that's what authenticity is. In my case, I've been using like I did in my introduction, my ethnical background, my education, as things to make me be different, things that differentiate me from the rest. In your case, it will be something else, but you do want to be authentic. First of all. Secondly, you need to have that unique promise of value. That is something that would tell your customers why choose you and not your competitor. In more crowded niches, it will be hard to come up with a truly unique promise of value, but not impossible, especially if you think of things through the eyes of those that consume your product or service. Now, you can be as authentic as you can be and have this great value proposition, but in case you are these 3 R's, you will not be able to succeed. You want to be reachable. People got to know where to find you. You got to be responsive, which is very different from being just reachable. You want to respond to them in a timely fashion. I can't help but think of hundreds of brands on Twitter, both corporate and personal, that just tweet stuff out, treat it as a one-way channel, and never respond back. So you want to be responsive. And finally, you want to be real. Numerous people would use company's avatar or company's logo for their avatar or company's name for their Facebook account. Don't do that, especially if we're talking personal branding. You want to be your real self, not your nickname or your company's name. And in my case, it also reflects in how I use automated tools. Especially for retweeting other people's stuff or auto-updating statuses on Facebook or other places. I am very careful as to how I use them. I play with some of them, but don't depend on them. It's very important to stay real. Now let's look at something that many people believe to be the key to any personal branding and successful leadership too. It's called charisma. In fact, there's this whole theory of leadership called transformational leadership, where some people believe that unless you've got this thing called charisma, this magnet that draws people to you, you will not be able to become a truly transformational leader, or in our case, an effective personal brand. On the other side, there are people that also believe in transformational leadership, but say that, and I agree with these, they say that charisma is something that you cannot learn. It's a gift. You either have it or you don't. Now, if you don't, are you doomed? No. 3 I's is what I've found to be extremely helpful in my personal practice. And I hope you will find them of help as well. I, number 1, you want inspirational motivation to be a part of your personal branding and your leadership. Appeal to people's emotions. Make them feel important for participating in your online community or your business. Be a motivation yourself. Be passionate, and I hope you're doing something you're really passionate about. That's I, number 1, inspirational motivation. I, number 2, is intellectual stimulation. You want to stimulate people to think. Bloggers that reblog other people's stuff and do not contribute anything of their own into it, or do not challenge their readers, followers, friends to think, normally do not achieve much. You do want to have that element of intellectual stimulation in there. Now, I'm not talking rocket science. People don't want overly complex stuff, but things that they can really identify with and really build up on. Finally, we have inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, and number 3 is individualized consideration. Like in that example of people being tweeted at but never tweeting back, not treating every follower as an individual and not replying to everyone individually. It will get hard the more popular you grow, but never forget those that have helped you get to where you are and generously reward them for that and help them grow as well. That is so important. So we've got these 3 I's. We've got 3 R's, 3 I's, and throughout all of this, build bridges. Through contexts people can identify with, through personal, by illustrating things or your points through your own biography or other people's biographies or life stories, but do build bridges. They will really help you communicate in the same language that your audience communicates in. And finally, when we are talking putting a personal brand on the front line, we are talking really brave people, in my opinion. You got to be courageous to do that, because things will happen. Mistakes will be made. However, an error does not become a mistake unless it is being refused to be corrected. You got to learn from mistakes, correct them quickly. I have been practicing this all along, but haven't read it in this way. As Chris Brogan put it in his Trust Agents, just a few months ago I was reading the book. He says if there's a mistake, you got to remember 3 A's: admit it, apologize, and act. It's that simple. And it works. It builds integrity, trust. It builds your personal brand. Be prepared for these mistakes. Be prepared to correct them. But always discern the real critics from those who will never be happy. There will be real critics who will help you grow through constructive criticism. There will be your some of your competitors and some of your clients that will just never be happy. And let me tell you a story here. As I was growing up in the former Soviet Union, in the poorest republic of all, Moldova, I started jogging at the age of 4, not because I wanted so. My dad was raising me up in a very Spartan atmosphere, so I started jogging at 4 years of age. We would wake up at 5 o'clock, rain, snow, whatever, we'd jog. 4 years old, little boy. Lots of homeless dogs in my home country. Every once in a while, they'd start chasing us. And for me, some of those dogs would pretty much reach my height. Scary stuff. I would try throwing rocks at them and trying to get rid of them in some way. But my father would always tell me something, the meaning of which I haven't understood until just a few years ago. He would say, don't pay attention to them. Watch them, but don't react back. Look forward and run. And let me leave you with this thought. The dogs will always be barking, but you gotta look forward and press on towards the goal, and only then you will succeed, not when you pay attention to the things that you shouldn't. With this, I will wrap it up.
Thank you, Geno.
Sure.
Have a hand for Geno, please. All right, and now we will hear from Barbara Rozgonyi, and she's going to share with us how to use the power of free publicity to leverage your personal brand into affiliate sales. Barbara?
Thank you. Thank you, Marty. There is, at the end of my name, there would be a YI. That's what makes me Hungarian, so.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. I can remember thinking about affiliate. I remember I was sending out an email, about 4 or 5 years ago, and someone on my list sent me an email back and said, why did you add your phone number? You know, people could call you. And I said, well, I want people to know who I am and feel like they can call me anytime. And I think, you know, things have really changed. Now with social media, people want to deal with someone, and you have more of an opportunity than ever to really build your personal brand. So what I'm going to do is walk you through a system. It's a 5-part approach that it took me all those years to compress down into 5 stages. It works for just about everything that I do, and I'm going to really wrap it around personal branding, affiliate marketing, and public relations. All of these images were taken in Paris in September, so even if you don't want to listen to me, I hope you like what you see. And you do have, we're on towards the bottom of the page, so the 5-part program is the acronym WIRED, which is words, intentions, routes, experiences, and design. I came up with that as a shorthand way to really help people communicate and organize what they're doing. So let's start with the W. What we want to do is we want to communicate in their language with an SEO accent. And I think that, you know, everyone here, I'm sure, knows how important SEO, search engine optimization, is. It's really something that we all do, and I wanted to share with you a couple of tools I use for that. Who here has a blog? Let me ask that question. Okay. One of the things I would highly recommend is everyone have a blog, so I'll just say that. I have a WordPress blog, and I use a product called SEOscribe.com, and Brian Clark, who's going to be presenting later, is one of the developers. It's really been great for me. And then the other product I like is free, and it's called Wordle. It's WORDLE.net. So this is a site where you can drop in copy or drop in your URL, and it will pop back all the words weighted by their relevance and their usage. So if you're wondering, is what I'm getting out to people what I want them to see, you can put it in there and see how it comes back. So words are so important. I always start with words because I feel like no matter what we do, that's really our grounding. And you need to really think about yourself as a writer, or you can, outsource that part of your business. But we write so much, don't we? Everything from a tweet all the way up to a book. This is a book that I was in, and I think it's a great idea. It's the Success Secrets of the Social Media Marketing Superstars, and what Mitch Meyerson did is he interviewed people in the business. So if you're looking for a way to really get some publicity as an author, you can look at people in your space and ask them to contribute a chapter. So that would be the W for words. And I took this picture because here I am in Paris. I've forgotten high school French. I don't know about you. I took a lot of it, but I got over there, and it's been a few years. And I was so excited to see some English words next stop. And really, when you write, you need to think about what you're encouraging people to do. What is the next step that they're going to take? So the next thing we're going to talk about is the I, which is the intention. And what you want to do is you want to be their buyer. You want to be their resource and their connection. I have fame up here, and it's not so much that I'm encouraging you to be famous, but you do have the opportunity to really make yourself a standout person in the market today, especially in social media and on the internet. So I got over to Geno's presentation. So with intentions, what you want to do is you really want to figure out, why are you in this? And even though this might sound like a no-brainer, what you really want to think about is who, what, when, where, why, and this will help you with your publicity as well. But are you really on the right track? And the image for that, the intentions, is the fame sign. But I want you to really think about how you can be the person that people think of right away for the niche that you work in. The next part of the wired system is routes, and that's going to be on page 2 of your handout. So routes are why PR is the most overlooked and fastest express route. This is a train station in Paris, and it's really pretty with that mosaic on the ceiling. I like that. That's the stop by the Cluny Museum, which is a medieval museum, and it's kind of interesting to think about the history and how fast you can go on a train to get somewhere else. And PR is really an engine that can take your business very quickly to where you want it to grow. It can tell your customers what to do, and it can really direct their actions. So let me give you a great PR tool. There's a site called prlog.org. It's prlog.org. And even if you're not sure that you want to do a press release or you're not sure what to write about, they have a system that will feed news to you. So you can see what other people are talking about in your niche. You can set up alerts. And then you can start writing your own press releases. And I'll give you a really quick guide to how to write a press release. You need to have a fantastic headline. I thought the presentation this morning, if you just listened to what he had to say about headlines, that was great, because headlines are so important. Your headline should be no more than 80 characters. And you should have your search term, it preferably should be towards the beginning. So you want to have a great headline, you want to have a summary, and you want to have a few key points. And it doesn't have to be major news that you're writing about. The point is to really think about what you want people to know more about. What I love about PR is you can put affiliate links in the press release. And it's a great way to make affiliate sales. It also positions your company as being more sophisticated, as a company that's really got a public record. I redefine PR from public relations to be press release, page rank. That's where SEO comes in. PR can really help you with SEO. If you get your search terms in there, it can take you from being towards the bottom to going towards the top. And a lot of press distribution sites already have social media built in right now. The prlog.org also has free video attachments, so you can add video. So there's a lot of things you can do to make your business come alive with public relations. One other thing I'd like to suggest you look at is a publishing calendar. And Cision has a free, it's called EdCals. So what you can do is you can search for the term, and when you search for the term, it'll tell you what editors are covering the topic that you're interested in, and you can either contact the publication or you can follow it. You can also gauge what kind of information is out there, and if you're looking for search terms and what news editors are interested in, that's a great place to go. So that's a good way to do research. So I just think PR is one of the most overlooked routes because not everybody's doing it, and if you're looking for a really great way to get your information out and your affiliate product out, then try PR. Write a couple of press releases, do an editorial calendar. Even if you only do one press release a month, that's really good. At least you're doing something. So you'll be able to increase your visibility, get better SEO, and hopefully get more traffic to your site. So that would be the R for routes. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is experiences. And this is the oldest street in Paris. I just wonder what kind of stories were told there. I mean, you know, when I was walking down there, I was thinking, wow, you know, what kind of stories? So you need to really think. I like Geno's point about making, you know, emotions. How are people going to feel? And I think that's really one of the things you have to keep in mind. How are you making people feel? I have to be honest, I've stayed at 3 different hotels here in Vegas. Not all the experiences have made me feel good. You know, some of them have been really frustrating. Think about how you make your buyer feel when you work with them. You know, is it something where they feel like, wow, I got what I wanted? You know, I'd want to come back. And I love storytelling. If you can't figure out what your company is doing for people, ask your clients. And there's really only 2 questions you need to ask them. Would you refer me? And what would you say if you did? So that's from Harvard Business Review. Keep that in mind. And really, if you ask them what you do for them, then that's going to be a way for you to really gauge the value of your business. So I'd also like to suggest that you don't have an elevator pitch, but you tell a mini success story. I think people really get a lot more out of that. And then the last piece we're going to go into is design. That's the last acronym. This is in Versailles in Paris. And it was kind of a shock to go there and see this really beautiful, historic castle with like Japanese anime-inspired art against it. But you know, your design is your own. And a logo is not really a brand, even if you have a personal logo. Really, it's the way you present yourself. So are you going to be traditional? You know, are you going to be somebody that's fun and bouncy? If I were you, I'd think about maybe even just 3 terms that really describe what your brand is and who you are. And it goes into even how you present yourself and how you communicate with people. And so we've talked about words, intentions, routes, experiences, and design. That's the wired system. And the last thing I'd leave you with is get out there and meet people. I founded Social Media Club Chicago. It's been fantastic for me. I know there's social media club chapters everywhere in the world. If there's not one in your area, start one. But get out there and let people know who you are. You know, let them know that it's okay to call you if they want to, and don't be afraid to put your phone number in your emails. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. All right, I'm going to take a turn, but before I do, as Jim said, it's the after lunch session, which we're all kind of full, and we all had a big lunch. Let's all stand up real quick, and let's just do a quick stretch for about 15 seconds. So stand up, arms up as high as you can, up, 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 all the way. Let's go, lean this way. Oh, lean this way. And go ahead and sit. All right, just get the blood flowing a little bit. Thank you for indulging me in that. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about personal branding success action items. My first one is to write and be written about. And, you know, there's a couple people on this panel that really understand that. Jim's going to talk a little bit about probably his book in a little while, but writing is incredibly powerful from a personal branding standpoint. I haven't written a book, much to my shame and chagrin, but I do write for several magazines, and I cannot tell you the amount of revenue that writing for those magazines has brought me, either directly or indirectly. When you write for a mainstream publication or for an industry publication, or you're featured in publications, your credibility skyrockets. People listen to what you have to say, and people listen to what you have to recommend when making a purchase decision. And writing is some of us are better at writing, some of us are not as good, some of us are better at other forms of communication. But if you have any kind of writing skills at all, write as much as you can. And you can start with your local newspaper. Maybe they have a space for an internet column that you could write about, because so many people have no idea what it is we all do for a living. And the local paper might love to have it. Your local Chamber of Commerce newsletter might love to have it. Your magazines that are in your vertical niches would love to have your content. And if you're really feeling ambitious, write a book. I believe that writing is probably the single most powerful tool you can use to building a personal brand. The second most powerful tool is speaking. Now, you're all in this room right now listening to people. What happened there? I gave myself some extra time. Jim noticed that. Speaking, again, is incredibly powerful for building your personal brand, because when you are in front of an audience and you're sharing your expertise, and if you have good knowledge and it's valuable content, people will look up to you and they will respect what you have to say. And again, the topic here is leveraging your personal brand for affiliate success. So if you're doing a presentation to an audience and you tell them about a product or service that you're an affiliate of and they go and purchase it, you're going to have an incredible amount of influence on that and an incredible conversion. And some people are terrified of speaking, and that's okay. Focus on the writing. Or if you're not terrified of speaking, but just a little afraid, you could do a panel just like this one, where you have the support of your peers to help you kind of carry the load so you're not doing it on your own. But speaking is an incredibly powerful and beneficial way of building a personal brand. There are a lot of service organizations that are desperate for speakers. Rotary clubs, Sertoma, and your local Chamber of Commerce, again. They are all always on the lookout for good quality experts who know something about the topics that their members and audiences want to hear about. And sometimes you get paid to speak, sometimes you don't. But the bottom line here is this is about personal branding. So anytime you can get in front of an audience and articulate good quality content, you will benefit. Be seen online. This is a no-brainer for this audience, but one thing I've seen a lot of people do is focus their energies on one or two areas only. And it's a little bit difficult if you're trying to build a personal brand. You kind of want to be everywhere. So try and make sure that you're covering all of your bases. And this is just a few of them. But social media, blogging, forums, the search engines, you really want to dominate. Really quick story. I received a phone call about 2 years ago from a prospective client. And he had heard of me from somebody and called me up. And we talked about a transaction that we wanted to do. And the transaction was going to be set up in such a way that I was going to be bringing in about 6 figures a month of revenue, and at the end of the month, I was going to have to write him a check. Well, he'd never met me, and he had to trust me with 6 figures. And he was kind of hesitant, and after we talked about how that deal might work, he said, "Let me call you back." Well, guess what? I didn't expect him to call me back. The next day, he did. And he said, "Marty, let's do that deal." He says, I'm comfortable with it. And I said, "Well, what changed your mind?" He said, "Well, I Googled your name. 13,000 responses came up, and all of them were good. And not only were all of the 13,000 responses good, but I found out we know a lot of the same people. And if you did screw me over, I could find you." Well, guess what? Those 13,000 Google hits were because of my personal brand, and it helped me close a very large and lucrative deal just because of what was found on Google about me in a nice, broad range. Be seen offline. We talked a little bit about PR, and PR is very, very powerful. And if you can be seen offline in magazines, newspapers, and television and radio, that again is a way of building up your credibility, building up your expertise. One of my favorite tools for leveraging and being quoted and being seen in these offline areas is Help a Reporter, Peter Shankman's former organization. I guess he doesn't own it anymore. But Peter Shankman has spoken here at Affiliate Summit before. It's at helpareporter.com. That's been a really great tool for me to be featured in a lot of these publications and TV outlets. I've also started using another one called reporterconnection.com. It's a little bit smaller, so it's not as competitive, and I've been enjoying that. And then Dan Janelle has a service called prleads.com. That one's a paid service. The benefit there is you'll get a lot higher quality inquiry and a lot less competition, and it's well worth every penny you'd pay for it. The other two I just mentioned, Help a Reporter and the other one that I just forgot the name of, Reporter Connection, are both free services. but they are highly competitive because there's a lot of other experts out there trying to get into the media. But being seen offline, if you're quoted in Newsweek, if you're quoted in the Wall Street Journal. I had one client that I was working with recently who one little quote in an article of the Wall Street Journal brought 16,000 visitors to her website. 16,000 visitors to her website from a little tiny quote in a big, long article. So offline media should not be overlooked when you're thinking about how to build an online brand. Another example is one of my clients, Dr. Aaron Tabor. We've been working with him building up his affiliate program, and he recently appeared on QVC about 6 weeks ago. QVC, his appearance on there had everything was go to QVC.com to purchase, go to QVC.com to purchase, go to QVC.com to purchase. And we sold a ton of product on QVC. But guess what? Our website traffic to the regular website, which was never mentioned, went up 3,000% overnight. So using that TV imagery drove web traffic, even though the website was never addressed and the call to action was to go to a different website, still went up 3,000%. Borrow social influence. What are you saying to yourself, well, how do I build a personal brand when I'm just starting out? Who's going to trust me that I know something? Who's going to believe that I'm an expert? One great way is to borrow social influence. What if you, instead of you being the expert, you found somebody who is an expert in your category and you interviewed them with your flip camera right here at the show? And you took that interview and you posted it online. Well, now you are borrowing the social influence of another expert by interviewing them and getting them to share their content with an audience. You can do teleseminars, webinars, and podcast interviews of the same way. Just by interviewing others, your name starts becoming associated with those others, and your social influence is built up by their reputation. You could appear on a panel, and by having an appearance with other people who are already highly respected in your niche, your name will get highly respected as well. This morning in the keynote, we talked about testimonials, and testimonials should not be overlooked as an incredibly powerful tool. Nobody would ever think of creating a sales page for their product or service without testimonials on there. But how many of us have testimonials about ourselves on our websites? How many of you use testimonials, and this is a question I want to see hands on, how many of you aggressively pursue endorsements on your LinkedIn profiles? Not enough. Do you know that my endorsements on my LinkedIn profile have led to over $1 million in revenue? Because those endorsements are figured to be third-party, unsolicited, and true and written by the person. Because they know I didn't just make up a testimonial and put it on my own website. It's out there on a third-party website that people trust. So, do you have a testimonial on your resume? Do you have a testimonial on your bio page? Do you have a testimonial on your LinkedIn profile? The answer to all those should be yes. They are incredibly powerful ways of building your personal brand. And one other is guest blogging. I think everybody on this panel probably gets an opportunity to guest blog on other blogs and gets other people to guest blog on our own blogs on a pretty regular basis. And it's a pretty simple way to build up a personal brand, again, borrowing social influence. If I can have somebody write on my blog and I can write on their blog, we reach each other's audiences and we're able to connect with each other and build up our brand. So it's incredibly powerful. That's all I had to say on leveraging personal brands. Some of those tips have proven to be very successful for myself and my clients, and I hope you had a little bit to take away. And now we'll hear from Jim.
All right, so you know why I wear a suit? I didn't used to wear a suit all the time. The reason I wear a suit when I come to shows and I go out in places now is because I'm photographed constantly, and the images that are out there about me are directly related to the clients that give me money. Directly related. Because I figured out a couple years ago that the people who will give me the most money to sustain my life are the small business owners, and they're more likely to write me bigger checks because they see me in a suit and a tie. I do not like wearing a suit. It's not fun. I'd much rather be walking around in flip-flops and a I'm on Twitter t-shirt, okay? My personal brand is directly relatable to how much revenue I bring in. And my goals at the moment are to get as many possible clients as I possibly can in that space, which is small to medium-sized business owners. And the reason I wear the suit is because they trust people who wear suits. It's as simple as that. Your personal brand is defined by what your agenda is, in my opinion. Hopefully it's authentic as well. I wish I didn't have to wear the suit, but it doesn't mean that I'm less of a teacher or less of an educator of people, just how people perceive me out there. And the trust is a key point there. You have to build trust, and everyone in this room needs to figure out who their customers are. Who are the people that you're going to communicate to, and what do they want? You got to figure out who they are and what they want, and then you have to give them the image of that. Build your personal brand around that, because once you have trust, there's no limits to what you can do. There's no limits to how much money you can make in affiliate marketing. I once made a 5-figure affiliate commission just based around trust. Oh, you said you think it's good? Oh, okay, I'll buy it then. And it was that. And then 30 days later, someone sends you a big, giant check. Like that. I mean, of course, that took over 10, 12 years to build up that trust. And this was, before social media, you could do it much slower, right? Now you can do it overnight. Everybody knows who Gary Vaynerchuk is, right? I met Gary, the wine guy, right? I met Gary before anybody knew who he was. Actually, here in the Wynn at a party like 3 years ago. Nobody knew who this guy was. And I'm going to tell a story about why content was important for that. But I have a challenge for everybody in this room. And the challenge is, how are you going to make yourself memorable enough that you're going to be able to build a brand that people are going to remember? Because at the end of the day, if you're not doing something that's memorable, something that's on the edges, it's going to take much longer. You can do it, but it's much harder to build a brand, right? For your business, for yourself, your company. And there's several ways you got to go about doing that. Does everybody know who Matthew Lesko is? A couple people know. For those of you who don't know, Matthew Lesko is the guy who wears the question mark suits and sells those annoying, he does those annoying commercials at 2 in the morning where, come by my, he's a really annoying guy. Met him several times, but he's extremely authentic, to Geno's point. He loves what he does. And he told me something really smart once. He's got a lot of smart things he said. He said, Jim, nobody remembers anybody in the middle. You don't remember the middle. Your business, your brand, if you're not on the left or the right or doing something to cause an emotion in somebody, then you're not memorable. Emotions create reactions. And when you are memorable, you can start to build trust. And there's a couple other keys to that. Nobody cares, right? Nobody cares in affiliate marketing that you're the middleman. First of all, most of the people who will click on your links and who go on your websites and all that stuff, they have no idea what affiliate marketing is. And they have no idea that they're clicking on an affiliate link. And the truth is, they really don't care. All they know is that somebody they trusted sent them a link or a recommendation or produced a video and said, you need this. And the truth is, and I've done studies on this, is that when you even tell them that it's an affiliate link, if they know what that is, your click-through rates and your conversions will actually go up. Because if you trust and like somebody, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go, oh, I'll use their link because I know they're going to make a little bit of money. So if you're blogging or if you have videos or you're sending out emails and you have trust, you've built a relationship with people, it's a very nice way to increase conversions and just say, hey, this is an affiliate link. And if you click on this and buy this product, I make $3. I once did a test where I sent out to my list for my video toolkit thing I have. And I said, here's the affiliate link, and I make $1.50 when you buy this, and here's the one where you don't click on it. And it was like 75% of the people clicked on the one because they wanted to give me the commission because they liked what I gave them. They liked the trust that I had built up with them. When you solve problems, you win. Google is the world's biggest problem solver. There are 2 reasons people come to the internet. Number 1, to have a problem solved, and number 2, to be entertained. Everything we do online falls under one of those 2 categories. Everything. Google is the world's biggest problem solver, and that's why they're the best. And that's what you need to be thinking about when you're developing your personal brand. If you want to build trust with people, your business, your brand, you need to solve people's problems. I want everyone to stop and think about what they do right now What is the biggest problem that you solve for your potential customers? And how are you doing that as best as you possibly can? Because you build a brand by doing that better than everyone else, by being memorable, by building trust. 10 minutes goes really fast. So my last 2 points are actually going to be about content. So it's going to be content, 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 and then make more content. All right? Content creation and content distribution. Creating content is how you build a really successful personal brand online nowadays. And that's how you make money as an affiliate, in my opinion, as well. Webinars, screencasts, videos. I know some people on the panel are going to be upset, or you're going to say, Jim, you're not going to say this, really. I want you to all consider stopping blogging. Is it meeting your goals? How many of you in here want to admit that you're on the blogging hamster wheel? Right? Right? How many? I want you to really think about it. How much time do you spend a day coming up with blog posts? Coming up with, I could write a blog post about that. I could do this. I blogged for over 10 years, and it met my goals for a while. At one point, I said, why am I wasting my time doing this anymore? I didn't really need much traffic anymore. It's great for search engines and traffic. But I want you to think about, if you stop blogging for a week or a month, what other things you could possibly get done in that time. What if you stopped blogging and started making a video every day instead? 3 years ago, I stopped blogging, and I said, I'm going to make a video every single day for a year, and I did. I got a flip camera, and I stuck it on my desk, and I looked into the camera, and I said, hi, it's Jim Kukral, and today we're going to talk about email marketing. And I did an unscripted 2 to 3 minute video about whatever the heck I was going to talk about that day. And I put up a couple hundred videos that year. Because of that, I learned about so many things, about how to make videos, edit videos. I created an info product on videos. I became known as the flip camera guy. I've sold literally thousands of flip cameras through my affiliate link. Because I built trust, I created content that helped people, that solved their problems. And this is the things that you need to do. Create screencasts, webinars. Think of all the time you're spending blogging. What if you did a webinar once a week? You created a really special webinar, and you released it once a week, and you got 10, 20, 30 people in it. Maybe you got 5 people in it, and you recorded it. What's more valuable to you at the end of the week? An hour recorded webinar, or those 3 blog posts that you wrote? Just something to consider, okay? So really what everybody needs to do is become that guy. If you want to build a brand, I assume people in here want to build a brand that people are going to remember. Everyone wants to be Chris Brogan, right? Everyone wants to be memorable. Everyone wants to say, there's that guy across the hall. I want to go meet that person, right? That guy, that gal. These are the steps that you need to take. And the challenge stands from the beginning when I stood up here. What are you doing that's better or different or more memorable than everybody else? Because if you're just writing blog posts every day, it's going to take you 3 times as long to build that personal brand. It really is. Gary Vaynerchuk, which I mentioned in the beginning, he wasn't going to get as famous as he did by writing blog posts. It was hard to make video 3 years ago, and he went out and made a great video show. He did something different. And your challenge here, my challenge to you, is what are you going to do differently? If you are blogging about architecture, I want a 15-minute architecture blog podcast done every day. Right? I want a webinar every week. I want you to produce a video every other day where you walk down the streets of your city and point your camera at the buildings and talk about the architecture. I just got through with a client who was a surfer. And I'll end with this. He's a surfer, and he's releasing a blog where he was going to talk about surfing. And I said, let me get this straight. You're going to write a blog where you talk about surfing all day long. He's like, yeah. I said, I have zero interest in reading you talk about surfing all day long. I said, go get $150, get a flip camera, and get a waterproof case on it, and take the darn thing out into the middle of the ocean and sit on your surfboard and point at yourself and talk about surfing on your surfboard. And he's doing that. And the videos are amazing because he's living what he's talking about. He's showing himself out in the ocean. He's showing himself surfing. And the traffic is going through the roof. Do something different. Be memorable. And those are my best tips. And I'm sorry for yelling at you. I got to keep everybody awake. That's just kind of what I am. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jim. All right, with that, it's time for questions. We have about 10 minutes. So we do have a microphone in the back of the room there. If we could get that somewhere. Yeah, there we go. If you have a question, please raise your hand. And right there in the back, there you go.
Check.
Thank you very much.
Jim, what would you suggest to people who are already on the track of building their personal brand? It's Michelle.
Hey.
Already on the track of building their personal brand, what would be some things that they could be looking out for? Like Gary was on the leading edge of doing video. Mm-hmm. What would you suggest us to be looking for that might be that leading edge thing?
Well, I mean, podcasting, in content in general, you got to figure out a different way to provide content. If you're not doing video yet, you better do it. Get off of it. You look how you look, you sound how you sound. Enough with it. The fear of this, the technology is there, the cost is cheap. Do videos, make a podcast with Skype and or Audacity. Download a free Audacity and just click the record button and start talking. All of this stuff. You should try all that stuff. I'm not down on blogging, but it just doesn't move the needle as well as it possibly could. If you want to build your brand faster, do something a little bit different. Video, podcasting, webinars, screencasts. Are you doing screencasts? Anyone in here? jingproject.com, Screencast-O-Matic, free tools that you just click a button, they record your screen, and you talk over? Do all of that stuff. All of it. That's the answer.
Another question? You got a question up here? Hang on. If you could run that, thank you. Wait till we get the microphone, please. Just say your name and your question.
Want to go hand this out? There you go.
Yeah, he'll bring you a microphone. There you go.
You need more mics.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question. I'm Mike Pillman, and my question was also for Jim. It was just you went through a couple of websites that would be of interest in regards to video, and what were those websites again that would help us with the whole video? You did screencast, but then in regards
Screencast-O-Matic
okay.
is a free screencasting tool. Okay. Jing Project, Jing, is another screencasting tool. Camtasia is the one you have to pay for.
Okay.
It's like $300, but those other ones are free. I use them all the time. They're great.
And when in regards to like uploading, videos and stuff like that, did you upload a lot of your videos just to all the different, not just YouTube? Did you go to Vimeo?
Yeah.
And all the
Tube Mogul, Tube Mogul, Mugul, uploads to 15, 20 sites at once. Really, honestly, you got to have them on YouTube and a couple other places, but it's free.
Just on Tube Mogul clarification, though, they've changed their model a little bit in the last 6 weeks. And so they're now a paid service, not free, and they're really frowning on any commercial videos. Bummer. So pixelpipe.com,
cool.
pixelpipe.com is the new Tube Mogul for Pixelpipe, Pixelpipe, pixelpipe.com.
That's awesome.
Okay. Offers a similar service to what Tube Mogul did a year ago.
Thank you.
Yep. Question up here in the front. Right up front here.
I have a question for Jim. What about Tumblr? What is your opinion on? Is that
Tumblr?
the next new thing?
I don't like Tumblr.
No?
I'll give you my opinion. I don't like Tumblr. I think that everyone needs to have their own domain name, on their own web host, and keeping their content on their own thing. Tumblr is one of those halfway solutions.
Because Gary uses that.
Yeah. Well, Gary doesn't need to have everything, right?
Yeah.
I think you gotta. I think you guys would agree, right? You gotta have stuff on your own brand.
Yeah,
right?
I agree. You know where I see Tumblr really working out well is for my daughter who loves bands. And she has her friends, you know, she's got like her own, it's really crazy. She's got her own network. They make her homemade jewelry and send it to go with her outfits. And they're her fans on Tumblr. She has 1,000 followers, which I guess is pretty good. I don't know. But that's where I see it really working out, not for affiliate marketing so much.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and she made a good point. I don't think you can really do much custom putting in of links on
You
Tumblr
can't.
and stuff, can you?
You know, the one I do, for our clients who don't have big budgets, we like to use posters.com if they want to do any kind of blogging, because it's like, you know, some people just can't figure out WordPress, so it's like start up and go. I do agree with Jim on the video, though, because I was required to do videos last week at CES. It's a lot easier than writing. It really is. So, and it's a lot more fun, too. I think you need a mix, but yeah.
Well, it goes back to what I was saying. You really need to be in a lot of places, in a lot of formats. If you've got audio, if you've got writing, if you've got a video, and you're in different kind of formats, it really, it's exponentially better than just doing one thing all the time.
Right.
There's no question. All right, we have time for one more question. Anybody else have a burning right up here up front table? There we go. All right, last question.
How can people protect their personal brand from being stolen?
That's a good question. You must be a lawyer.
She is.
Well, does anybody have a jump in on that? Before I jump in?
You know, I don't know. What I see is that if we do a really good job for our clients and all of a sudden the competition starts copying things, and we have a couple that are really leaders in this space, and it's interesting to see how the competition jumps in. It's tough. You know, and I think, you know, like as a photographer, that's one thing to think about. People are trying to take your stuff, but really we go back to how unique are you? And, you know, if you're so unique, people can't copy or steal you. And that's where the content, as Jim said, comes in, you know, where Geno talked about experiences. Our real goal is to have people want to be in relationship with you somehow. With you, not with your competitors. So.
Geno, thoughts?
Well, in my case, it's I've been thinking about the same question for quite some time, and somehow I thankfully haven't faced threats like that. And the further I go, the harder it becomes to steal my brand, because I'm trying to be very authentic, very open, and everything that I have built, and this will be the case for pretty much any personal brand, I believe, I have done in the open through social media, through forums. All of the mistakes that I've committed are out there, and how I corrected them is also up there. So I think the key is really in building a unique, authentic, different, totally different brand.
I agree. Jim?
You know, my whole take on the thievery thing of people online, I think it's an excuse for, and I'm not picking on anybody, but I think I'm not going to put content out there because I'm scared someone's going to steal it. I'm not going to do this because I'm scared someone's going to steal it. Enough of it already. People are going to steal it. They could steal it. It's probably going to happen. It's an excuse that stops you from being successful. I want you all to stop. Stop worrying about the fear of what's going to happen, because fear is paralysis by analysis, and it stops you from being successful. Every single successful person I know up here and in this room just goes out there and tries and does not worry about what's going to happen or how someone's going to steal it. If it happens, it happens. Then we just send the hit squad. We send Geno over, right? We send Marty over. Don't worry about it. Just do it.
I would agree completely. And by putting yourself out there in a multi-platform way, you know, Jim talked about why does he wear a suit to these events? Well, because there's a million pictures of him taken at these events. Who's going to steal his face? I mean, who would want to steal his face? Seriously. So Jim's face is his brand, and it's not going anywhere.
Was that an insult or not? I'm not sure.
I love you, Jim. You know that. So if you create a lot of content and you create authentic content, to Geno's point, nobody's going to steal your brand. Your brand's just going to get bigger and better. With that, we'll close out the session. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Please, once again, fill out your evaluation forms. Turn them in at the back on your way out, and let's hear it for our panel.